So, Mr. Wansel, you have had an illustrious career, and I'm loving your album. But one thing
Oh, wow.
absolutely loving it. But the first thing that springs to mind is your fascination for outer space. Tell me about
Yes.
that.
Well, when I was a kid, part of my life was spent on a farm. And one night I saw a meteor shower when I was real young, and I never forgot it because it wasn't like your typical meteor shower where you might see a couple every minute or so. It was like hundreds at one time, and it kind of like scared me. But then I never forgot it, and I always wonder what's going on out there. So I've kept up with that over the decades and been a bit of a stargazer. And I go out and I look at the meteor showers and like the solar eclipses and the nebulas and the planets and all that stuff.
So, what enlighten us? Tell us something about outer space that really fascinated you, apart from when you first saw it. Enlighten us, because I know that people.
Well, what really fascinates me is this. Science has been studying, outer space, and the solar system and deep space for decades, and for many, well, not decades, but for over 100, couple of 100 years. But until recently, they considered our solar system to be the only solar system with planets. And that was like 40 years ago. We were the only solar system with planets. Now there's more. They believe there's more planets than stars. Everything looks basically the same out there. Everything is round. Everything has the same chemical elements and all of that. So why can't there be life on other planets? And that is my belief. And I'm being straight with you. I think there is other life out there. How we see it or how we view it is another thing.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. I really do agree with you. And so, if they were selling tickets to take a plane, a rocket ship, or whatever to go out of space, which would be your choice of planet to go to?
Well, of course, Mars first because that's the most livable. And then I think I would love to go to Saturn.
Any particular reason why?
Well, Saturn is a beautiful planet. It has an extraordinary amount of rings around it, and it seems like it has some form of atmosphere. We already know that Mars has a basic atmosphere that we can build upon, and they now know that there's definitely water on Mars. And once we be able to get some water, we'll be able to live there, and create an oxygenated environment.
Do you think that it's very, very, very futuristic for me? But you've been talking about outer space practically all your life. And when you go to write your lyrics, especially with this new album, you've got like a narrative that runs through it that talks about visiting outer space. Am I right in saying that? I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I
Yes,
do remember.
yes,
Yeah.
it's about a travel cruise ship called the Mars Eclipse on its way to Mars, but it doesn't quite get there.
What happens?
No, well, I'm not going to say. Well, you got to listen to the ending.
well, well, all right. Well, let's play the title track. Tell us about the title track. Is it "This Is My Story"? Is that the title
This
track?
is my story. It's not really the title track, but it's about one of the specialists on the cruise itself is outside taking people on a space walk, and the artificial intelligence Luxor calls him back in because he's got a phone call from Earth. So he goes back in and he takes his phone call from Earth.
Imagine. All right, this is
Hey,
the
I'm so glad
story
you
now.
called. I got a little story I want to tell you. There is something that you need to know.
'Cause this broken heart's broken no more. Well, this is my story. Yes, it is. Every day I get up from bed to find good things inside my head. What can't be found, I know will come around. My happiness was gone for a while, but now I got that smile. 'Cause this is my story. This is my story. You love me, it's what you said.
That's what you said.
But it was bound to end this way. But that's okay. That's okay.
Had to end someday.
There's a dream that was once yours and mine. But now I got a dream that's better this time. Just don't think that I'm living in pain. 'Cause I'm just not the same anymore since you walked out the door. This is my story. This is my story.
Seriously.
Maybe one day you will understand what it means to be someone like me. 'Cause what you lost, you can never get back. Never get back. Yeah. 'Cause I'm not crazy. There's a dream that was once yours and mine. Girl, you know, left it all behind, just like me. And I only wish you the very best. More than anything in this whole world, got the rest of my life. Now it's the time to say goodbye. Goodbye. This is my story. I've got a brand new start, and I've got someone who loves me for me. This is my
And that's the title, This Is My Story. We have great pleasure to have Dexter Wansel with us this afternoon. And if you want to see him sitting comfortably in his domain, then pop on to Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, or even Mixcloud. We're in conversation with Dexter Wansel, and you know we've grown up with him, and he's here to tell us about his brand new album.
Take care of yourself.
Dexter, Mr. Wansel, Sir Wansel, have they crowned you yet? Because they need to. You know, where you began reading your story really blew me away, because you started in an orchestra, is that right? When you was very, very young.
I started actually as there's a theater in Philadelphia called the Uptown, and I actually started as a backstage errand boy back when I was 8 and 9 until I was about 13. And that theater was a lot like the Apollo in New York, where Black artists could go and perform and stay for 10 days to a week, you know, in one place, which was very convenient for them, you know. And so I worked with most of the artists that went through there for years. And I learned my first chords on the organ with Doc Bagby, who was the music director there. He's pretty famous for doing some early music, and actually he's actually the guy that did the music for Rock Around the Clock, but he didn't get the credit for it. And Jimi Hendrix used to show me chords on the guitar when he was with the Isley Brothers, but he was left-handed, you know. And so he played guitar left-handed, but I was right-handed. So I had to I had to figure it out, and then when I left, when I started junior high school, me and my best friend out of junior high school is a bassist named Stanley Clark. And we had our first little groups together called the Speakers, and we would play around. Once we were in high school, we would play around in little clubs and stuff like that. And then I went into the Army where I lived in China for a couple of years, but I would continue music playing for the USO, the different facilities that they had, not just over there, but over here in the US. And after I got out of the Army, I started auditioning for piano sessions at Sigma Sound Studios in Philly, where, Philly International is famous for coming out of. And I also joined some groups. I finally got to do sessions and program the Putney synthesizer for Sigma on sessions for different artists. And some I get credit for and some I didn't. But then I joined Instant Funk and Yellow Sunshine, and I became MFSB's live keyboard player. And one thing led to another, and Philly International asked me to sign with them, which I did. And that's how it all got started.
Wow, and you haven't stopped working since. What kept coming up is that it seems like your forte is arrangement. What does that mean?
Well, actually, what I studied the cello. I became a cellist, and I was playing with various youth orchestras and sometimes even symphony orchestras like the Cherry Hill Symphony out of New Jersey. I played with them. And so I studied theory, harmony, and composition. And as an arranger, what that means is you arrange how a track, or the music that a track plays, whether it's the rhythm or strings and horns. You write charts from scratch to add to music that's being done, or you write the entire chart for everybody to perform to at a live performance. That's what an arranger or orchestrator does.
So, do you actually sing? I couldn't work out whether you sing or...
On my old albums, I sang. Basically, there was only one song I ever wrote for myself, and that was 1 Million Miles from the Ground. All the other songs that you hear on my albums were songs or demos that I submitted to other artists that got rejected. So they wound up on my albums.
Well, look, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, so it actually helped me out as far as getting my albums completed, at Philly International Records, because I had many songs that were rejected by Billy Paul or Lou Rawls or by Phyllis Hyman or Patti LaBelle, but nonetheless, there were songs they did accept. And they didn't wind up on my album, they wound up on theirs.
What's your biggest hit to date?
My biggest hit? Over here?
Well, anything across all of the artists that you've written for or arranged for, or I know that you've had a Grammy.
Yeah, that was for Billy Paul. That was for helping to produce his album. No, I'm sorry. That was for Lou Rawls, helping to produce Unmistakably Lou. My biggest hit, I would think over here, would be Patti LaBelle's If Only You Knew.
Yeah, we do love that a lot. Musically, the genres are kind of split up in this country in the sense that you've got your middle of the road and you've got your underground and all of that. This track here that I'm about to play you, Sweetest Pain, this is how I learnt about you. And this particular track never leaves my record box. Do you remember the track? Wow. Sweetest Pain?
Do I remember?
Do you remember it?
Yeah, sure. That's a track that I wrote actually for the lead vocalist, Terry Wells, who I really liked her voice a lot, and I wanted to work with her. She didn't have a contract deal. She used to be in a group called City Limits. So I asked her to work with me in the studio, and she did. And she did a couple of songs and did background and stuff like that. Over the years, she worked in my touring group, and I really loved her voice. So I wanted to write a song for her. And so I wrote, produced, and orchestrated, because I used the MFSB. I used all 40 members of the MFSB to, at the time, to play the music, the score that I wrote for the song. So. And yeah, her voice is wonderful on The Sweetest Pain.
Wonderful. So it's actually Terry Wells that's on this?
Yeah, her name is Terry Wells.
Yeah, we've got her album, and we love her album as well. God, what's the album called? It'll come back to me, but it's a blue cover, and she's looking like an angel on the cover. That's how I didn't know for a moment that she's the one that's actually singing on Sweetest Pain. This is Terry Wells? You're telling me something new here. Beautiful. Let's get it on.
And the background vocalists are the Jones Girls.
Oh, no wonder we love it so much. Oh my God, it's gone even further up in my estimation if it wasn't already at the top.
Hey, listen, the Jones Girls helped me out so much. It's crazy. You know, they did a lot of background work for me and with me. And they were just amazing. You know, that Captured album I did for Europe for Virgin 10, they're the singers on there. Most of the female vocal singers are the Jones Girls on that. And I loved working with the Jones Girls as well. You know, I think my favorite song that I wrote or orchestrated or arranged for the Jones Girls is Love Don't Ever Say Goodbye. But I think the most popular one I did that I arranged and produced for the Jones Girls and wrote for the Jones Girls is Nights Over Egypt.
Wow. Absolutely wow. Well, let's get this one on as I've got it lined up, and then we'll go back to your current album. Just to remind everyone who Dexter Wansel is. Like I said, you know, I know him for this track. A lot of you who are hardened Dexter Wansel fans will know him with Always There. These are big tunes here in the UK. Life on Mars. And now you say it's Terry Wells. I can hear it. Wow. Wow.
Yes.
I can hear it now.
Gene Carnes' name is mentioned as the vocalist, and it's not Gene. Gene did cover one of my songs that Terry actually sang, and it's called Together Once Again. So Gene Carnes did do a song that Terry did on one of my albums, and re-recorded it, and it's called Together Once Again.
Because I don't think she's actually credited on this track, is she? So we don't know.
I'm sorry.
I don't think Terry Wells is credited on this track.
On the album, of course she's credited.
Is she?
Yeah, of course.
Well, I obviously didn't go to school that day. I didn't read.
Sometime a long time ago put it up and put Gene Carnes' name on there, and I'll never understand why, you know, when they post stuff on YouTube or wherever, they didn't get the credits right, that's for sure.
That's for sure, and confusing everybody. It hurts me. It hurts so good inside. Say that again.
I can't see you. Or
yes.
Hear the music.
You can hear, but you can hear the music?
I can't.
You can't hear the music and you can't see me. So sorry. This is a complete new setup for me. But I can see you, and I've just checked all the other platforms and they can see you too, so you can give them all a wave. They can see you, and you will be able to look back at it as well. So I mean, where you're coming from, everything was live, and I've got a picture up on the screen right now in my, because what's happening is that I've got a slideshow of as many pictures I could find of you, and there's a really lovely photograph of you and your son, and you're in the studio.
Yeah, my son Andrew Wansel is Pop Wansel.
And so he's followed in your footsteps. Is he keeping it live, or is he using the technology? What's he doing?
He's doing some live stuff, and he's doing technology stuff. He's doing extremely well. Him and Lizzo just finished up her project, and he's done K. Michelle, he's done Usher, Alicia Keys, Jennifer Lopez, Alessia Cara. He's in the pop world more so than the R&B. You know, he's in the pop world.
All right, so Mark's just told me, he's just echoed what we said. He says, we can hear everything, but I don't know what he's doing. I don't know where he is. But anyway, this is a very, very comfortable, relaxed show. So we have these kind of conversations. So if you want to pop off and make a cup of tea, you can, and come back. I am only joking. So have you written anything with your son?
No, actually, I've never written anything. I've kind of like stayed out of the way per se, and let fate and the universe be his path. You know, I have helped him with projects like when he needed strings and horns on anything, I would be his arranger. Like for the Sparkle movie, when he did some work on there, I wrote the arrangements for him. You know, that kind of thing.
And does he use your name at all to get through doors?
No, he's never had to do that. He's made his own way. How he got started was with Nicki Minaj.
Wow.
And I used to get him up to New York, give him some train fare to get to New York to work with her. And I used to help both of them kind of get started together. And the next thing I knew, he had a #1 record with her called Your Song.
Wow. And how do you compare the new music to the old? Because, you know, I feel a little bit old when I hear people say the music doesn't compare. How are your ears? Can you tune into the new music? Can you feel it?
Absolutely. I think there's wonderful music out there done by wonderful groups and wonderful producers all along. I think times change, obviously, and what people are affected by changes, obviously. I mean, hip hop got big, and then it became more like hip hop. But then prior to that, you know, you had great disco music, dance music, you know, and house music. And I think it has all survived in some way. You know what I'm saying? In uniquely different ways sometimes. But people still get up and dance. People still fall in love with each other through music. People still want to hear something that they like, whether it's past, present, or future.
Brilliant. And have you ever ventured down the road of making reggae?
I did Judy Mowat. I worked with her on a reggae project many years ago. But that's primarily it. I actually did an island flavored song on one of my albums. It's called Going Back to Kingston. I had gone to Kingston, Jamaica, and ran into some revolutionary people there who stopped us in the forest on our horses and asked us what we were doing. And I told them, you know, I was visiting and everything. And they said, well, tell the story about us and what's happening here. And I wrote a song about it and the struggles they were going through in Jamaica at the time. And it's called Going Back to Kingston Town. Going Back to Kingston
Town. I'm definitely going to look that up and see if I can get that on the radio at some point. So as we're talking about the struggles that's hit us worldwide, any thought? Because to me, you seem to be ahead of the game in talking about, you know, outer planet living, and it looks to me that soon we're all going to be dressed in silver suits and wearing masks and stuff like that. So, you know, tell us about how you're feeling about the present climate right now and how we can, get through this time. How are you getting through it?
Well, I'm happy to see people like Jeff Bezos, who's one of the world's richest men, going up into outer space. I think it sends a message that it's something that's doable and will be done more frequently as time goes by. My only argument with the guy from Tesla, when he talks about he wants to send, because he runs SpaceX. Um, and he wants to send people to Mars. And when he said that, people are going to die and everything like that, I think that they should really make sure that the technology is there where that won't happen. That's my only argument with that. Make sure that we can all live and survive. Once we get up there and need to come back, we can get back safely, And I think that the work that they've done in the International Space Station over the decades is a proven point that it can be done, So I look forward to what happens next. I have a friend who works at JPL NASA and who writes software for the next landing for the Orion project on the moon in 23 and 24. And he's telling me that they feel very confident that they're going to start putting residents on the moon.
Wow. Will you live there? Will you go there and live there, you think?
Well, I mean, as long as their oxygen feed is good and I can eat and survive, sure.
And make music, of course. And make music.
Make music, of course.
Well, thank you so much. Oh, got to ask you this question, otherwise the young bucks will kill me. Is there anybody out there that you're looking forward to working with? Because you've worked with next to you. I mean, for me to even sit here and list the people that you've worked with is just crazy. It's better to say who you haven't worked with. So moving into the younger generation, is there anybody that you'd like to work with?
That's hard to say. I'd have to take a listen again to everyone, listen to radio. There's a group from Japan that I really like. Yeah.
Come on, do pray tell. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, helping other groups, maybe revive, like maybe a One Direction revival, you know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. Yeah, there's a lot of groups. And listen, I want to thank you for having me, and I want to thank Mark Anthony from Digital Jukebox Records for linking us together. I really enjoyed your questions. Very interesting that you chose some outer space stuff. I really like that.
Well, I'm fascinated with you and, your fascination with outer space, and you've just kept it consistent over all of your albums, always speaking about space. So, I've enjoyed hearing your reasons. And if you're going to get a ticket, I want to come with you because you sound like a safe bet to go with.
Well, as long as everything is safe and sound, I'll be the first one on the ship.
No doubt. Give us the name of your album again, please.
The name of the album is The Story of the Flight Crew to Mars. And we have some wonderful vocalists and some wonderful instrumentalists, like the song you played, This Is My Story. That vocalist is named Damon Williams, and he was the last signed artist at Philadelphia International Records by Gamble and Huff. But unfortunately, they had closed the doors before his album came out. So we've been working together and performing together ever since then. Damon Williams, great vocalist.
Fantastic. And can I be cheeky enough to ask you this? So I'm running this competition at the moment, and it's a Name That Tune competition. And for every right answer, it's going to go into a hat at the end of the year. and we're going to do a prize draw. But the prize is going to be a sack that I will be filling with all sorts of goodies over the year. So when I meet people like yourself, I'm asking if you would sign a copy that would go into that sack and form a part of the prize.
Of the album? Absolutely.
Oh, fantastic. 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 Oh, you've made my day. Fantastic. Thank you very, very much. Dexter Wansel, you know I'm going to be playing your album, not to death, to life. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. And this particular track, I'm wondering if you can hear it. Hold on. I think we've just played that now. Where's it?
Can't hear it. What's it called?
Right, hold on. It's labeled really bad on here. It's an instrumental. There's a particular track on here that I really like, and for some reason it's not showing up on my label, but not to worry, I'll go back to it. It's female vocalist, and she's talking about being a woman.
Oh, another girl in outer space.
Yes, it. Oh, I do love that track. I do love that track. Well, I'm going to play this one for now, and I'm going to dig that one out and play it afterwards. So thank you so much, Dexter. Sit back and enjoy. And I love your decor. What's that behind you? That looks like a certificate of some sort.
Yeah, well, there's all our kids. We put all of their accomplishments up on the walls. Behind me are accomplishments of our daughters and sons who have graduated from college or become major players out there in one way or another.
You're a great father.
Now, if we were in my studio, then you'd see all the gold records and #1 plaques and all that kind of stuff.
Maybe you can take a photograph and we can put it up on our website.
I will take a photograph of that stuff down there for you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Sending you hugs and kisses and more life. Thank you. Thank you, Dexter.
Thank you, Elayne. Thank you for having me. And
It's
thank
a pleasure.
everyone for listening, please.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, Mark Anthony. Giving you a shout out, Mark. Digital Jukebox Records. Here we go.
Here we go. Thank you. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have run over time, in fact. Do apologise. Time flies when you're having fun. And sometimes if you're having too much fun, you could take a flight all the way to Mars. Thank you so much for Dexter Wansel, our superstar guest on today's show. Thank you to all of you for calling in. I hope you've enjoyed the show as much as I have. Please put the number in your speed dial and we'll see you next week. Tomorrow though, make sure you tune in to LWR from midday, where I'll be teamed up with the Soul Syndicate. From me, DJ Elayne, be safe, love the one you're with, and thank you. God bless. Mwah.